Good morning, Marco Island. I am recording.
That is amazing.
Wait.
Oh.
No. There. Didn't you want to say it?
I got really distracted by the reverb stuff we were doing. Good morning, Marco Island. This is the Good Morning Marco podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Kraley.
And I'm your other host, Ryan Sullivan.
So, here we are, over at this very infamous bridge.
At the SS Judge Jolley Bridge. I am so excited for today's episode, Jordan. However, before we get into all that, we got a couple of housekeeping things. First of all, this is our first sponsored episode of Good Morning Marco.
Woo!
This episode of Good Morning Marco is sponsored. So today's episode of Good Morning Marco is brought to you by Island Tech Pros, your local tech experts serving Marco Island in Southwest Florida. Whether it's a quick virus removal, a PC tune-up, or a security camera installation, Island Tech Pros has you covered with personalized luxury service, no text jargon, just simple, reliable help. And right now, until the end of October, they're offering free consultation and diagnosis. It's perfect time to get your tech in shape. Call them today at 239-288-0974 or visit islandtechpros.com. Island Tech Pros, making your tech life easier. Just mention Good Morning Marco to schedule your free consultation today. Once again, that's 239-288-0974, islandtechpros.com. Thank you so much to Keon at Island Tech Pros for sponsoring this episode of Good Morning Marco. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. There's a couple other housekeeping things that we should get squared away, because did you know, Jordan, that 98% of the people who watch us on YouTube are not subscribed?
98%?
That is the most abysmal statistic in podcasting history I may have ever seen.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah. Odds are that you are currently watching this episode on Nextdoor. So, what? Yeah, I looked at the statistics. About 70% of our viewers are watching from an external link, which means probably on Nextdoor.
Hi, Nextdoor.
Yeah, hi Nextdoor. All you have to do is go to the actual YouTube app. Go to Good Morning Marco. I'm pretty sure there's a way to click on this video to then open in YouTube, and then down where it says Good Morning Marco, just click that button that says subscribe. Currently, as we're recording this, which we're recording this the Friday before this uploads, we're sitting at 98 subscribers. We are so close to 100. If everyone watching this right now were to actually subscribe, we would be in the hundreds right now.
That would be amazing.
Because in the past month, we've seen such amazing feedback. In the past month, we have received 3.7 thousand views on YouTube alone.
That's insane.
Yeah, that is absolutely insane, and that's tailing back off the previous month, which was 1.8 thousand views. So we are
Let's keep
growing.
It up.
Things are doing great. Make sure you follow Good Morning Marco Pod on Instagram. Trying to get Facebook figured out why it's not linking correctly. So you can follow it on Facebook. It's just not going to be as active. You can also favorite us on Nextdoor. Give us a review everywhere. Make sure that you listen on all the audio platforms.
Yeah.
Rate us 5 stars. Write us a little review.
Let us know what you guys want to see.
Right. The reviews and the rating us 5 stars help us so much in the algorithm. It's just a very good way to help Good Morning Marco, because I go around town and I talk to people, and it seems like everybody really likes it. So let's show us in the statistics online that because I can see in the views that people are enjoying it. So if you can just do that to help us out, it'll help us actually be able to continue doing this, because the more that you do that, the more that Jordan and I can actually we can get advertising money from YouTube if we get more subscribers, and also we can get advertising money from Spotify and from Apple Podcasts if we get ratings and
Yeah,
stuff like
better
that.
videos, better quality,
Right.
all
So
that kind of stuff.
the more that happens, the better that we can do this, and the more often we can do this because we've got a jam-packed month coming up. I'm
We
not going
do.
to tease all of that. We can save that for the end of this podcast today because we're already 5 minutes in, and let's get talking about the Jolly Bridge.
The Jolly Bridge. So, I believe you've done a lot of research about the
I
Jolly
have.
Bridge.
I have.
And I'm going to pick your brain.
Okay, go ahead and ask me some questions.
Okay, what year was the first bridge built?
Okay, the first bridge, which is this one closest to us, I believe it was in the mid 60s. If I can pull it up on your cellular device. Um, Also, if you'd like to sponsor Good Morning Marco, just reach out to me. Um, if you notice, we need like wind socks because these are actual socks. So a lot of this information I got from the Facebook group Growing Up Marco Island, Florida. This is a great Facebook group. If you happen to be a Marco Island local and you've been here for a while and you're not in this Facebook group, I highly recommend it. A lot of this information is coming from screenshots that I have taken from Steve Lindbergh, who is, I don't know if I would consider him a Marco Island historian. Steve, if you are a Marco Island historian, then I will gladly give you that moniker. If you don't want it, then you don't have to take it. But let's see. So I have a ton of screenshots here, which we will include in the video podcast. On July 15th, 1968, construction of the Marco River Bridge, now the Judge SS Jolley Bridge, began. The finished bridge would cost $1.5 million and spans 1,595 feet. This photo that I am putting up right now is from the 1969 spring issue of the Marco Islander. You can take a look at that photo right there. You can see
Oh,
just those
wow.
pilings being put in right there. It's very, it's a long history of Marco because that was only 8 years after Hurricane Donna, which Hurricane Donna was sort of like the nexus point for Marco. When it became, well, is Marco going to exist or not? Prior to that, it was just a ferry. The bridge to let you in from Goodland existed long before this bridge.
Hmm.
So I remember, actually, I think to get a very good idea, you should read our comment from our the woman that I reached out to.
Yes.
If you can pull that up, and she was so kind to send me a little read for Jordan to do today. So I'm very excited
So
to
I'm
hear
just
that.
going to read the whole thing.
Go ahead.
Awesome. Hi, Ryan. I was too busy to answer before, so just posted thumbs up. I'm
That's
settling down some now, so maybe I.
okay. For context, I texted her at like 3 in the afternoon, and then she just sends me a thumbs up, and I'm like, okay, great. Then I figure it's like I'm sure she'll answer later. Yeah, I don't think you needed to read that part, but that's okay.
I'm starting at the beginning. um, settling down some now, so maybe I can recollect a few thoughts about transportation and from Marco Island in the old days. First, I would like to say that the Jolly Bridge to Marco was a very good idea. My husband and I were a young married couple at the time, and the bridge was built, and we had been using the old swing bridge to attend church on Marco.
That is what the Stan Gober Bridge was referred to as.
Okay,
Swing bridge.
that's cool. I would have never thought. Why was it called that?
I don't know.
To be determined. It seemed like a long drive from Myrtle Lane, Naples, where we lived. After the Jolly Bridge opened, it was only a 10-minute drive for us to the island and another 5 minutes to the little church that we attended. My husband had a job with the dredging company that made the land fill for the bridge on both ends. I sometimes would jump out of bed, grab a house coat to wrap around me while gathering my 3 babies out of bed to take with me when I needed to use our only vehicle to drive to town in Naples. The old road that used to be the RR grade was only dirt and shell. I could drive him to the landing and return home to Myrtle Lane without ever seeing another car on the road. Once I saw a large buck deer standing in the middle of the road and often saw otters. My great-grandparents, the Walkers and Weeks, came to Marco in the late 1800s between about 1895 and 1900s. Yes.
I'm related to this woman.
Really?
I didn't.
Which part? Which side?
Walker.
Interesting.
It's by marriage, but my uncle is Jimmy Walker.
The only transportation then was by boat until the ferry was installed from what is now Isle Capri. I believe the swing bridge was installed about 1937. My parents and grandparents used the ferry and swing bridge. I used the swing bridge and the Jolly Bridge. My family has seen many changes to Marco Island. Our sons used to enjoy the bridge beneath the Jolly Bridge where they used to fish.
Yes.
The end.
Wonderful. That's something I saw a lot of discourse about on the Growing Up Marco page.
Really?
There was a fishing pier that went out, like a catwalk underneath. Here, let me. I shall pull up photos.
I know so many people that would love to have
Oh
that
my goodness.
now.
Yep.
Why'd they get rid of it?
I think it got swept away in a hurricane. And Andrea says, I remember it was 10 cents to cross, and once it was paid off, they removed the toll booths. This was when they were building the bridge. They had a toll to go over the bridge, because if you notice, it says toll bridge.
It does.
It was also 40 cents at one point, because I actually have a photo of a ticket stub in here as well, which I can put.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'll put the photo of the 40-cent ticket stub that I found on the Historical Society posted. Linda Pfeiffer asks, how did people get on the island before this bridge? M.A. de Silvia responds, the entrance from from 41 over the Goodland Bridge was referred to now as the back way in. I remember having to go through the old drawbridge on Goodland to get to Marco. I believe that's the swing bridge. And let's see. I rode Clifford Connolly says, I rode from Marco to go to Naples High School every day. Lately wasn't open yet, and it was 25 cents to get over. Long, dark road then. Single lane all the way to airport.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Cost 20 cents to cross onto the island, says Rick Barber. I grew up on Marco, LOL. I remember going over the bridge every single day to go to school, says Taylor Boeing. Kathy says the comments on this are interesting.
Yeah, so I'm kind of gathering that having this main Jolly Bridge was a very pivotal point in the success of Marco.
Oh, absolutely. This is Bill Nielsen posted this picture of saying he captioned it "Missing fishing underneath the Marco Bridge." Here's a picture of me fishing in 1971. Here, I'll show you what it looks like, and then of course I'll show you guys on the podcast. This is on that Facebook group once again.
That's crazy. That is like a fishing
pier.
Yeah,
that's back in 1971, and you can see December 13th, 1969, the Marco River Bridge opened. Led by the Everglades High School Marching Band.
Oh.
Antique cars from the Fort Myers Antique Automobile Club were the first to drive across the 1595-foot-long structure. When it opened, the bridge toll was 40 cents each way, but it was reduced to 20 cents by the time the last toll was collected on January 12, 1979. Marco River Bridge, now Judge SS Jolley Bridge, April 1970. Photo by Brian Donaldson, courtesy of the Marco Eagle. Here is the photo, and it looks like, yep, that catwalk goes all the way.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah, I know. This is incredible.
I would have never thought that they would have had something like that.
Yeah, and you can see it looks like this, almost like the same streetlights and everything. I know this 1969 really wasn't that long ago, because when you think about it, this is when Abbey Road was released. The rooftop concert happened like a week after the bridge opened. That's cool.
What a time to be alive.
Oh my goodness, yeah, no, I love this stuff so much. So the Deltona Corporation is the company that built the Jolly Bridge. This aerial shot captures preparations taken prior to the start of the Marco River Bridge, Jolly Bridge, construction on July 15th, 1968. If you look closely, you can see a lone bulldozer leveling sand to the right of Marco Island Yacht Club. This is a promotional photograph from the Deltona Corporation, taken in 1968, and you can see that right here. Look at that. No bridge. You can see the beach here.
It is just the singular bulldozer.
Yeah, I know.
It's so tiny.
Yeah. Well, it's a bulldozer.
Well, I mean, because it's far away, it's tiny. I get it. But, I mean, in comparison to all of the area that is right there, it's kind of crazy to just have one guy out there.
I'm so enjoying my number 7 right now. That's a reference for anyone who saw the 7th episode of Good Morning Marco. That was the 7th episode as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway,
Well, I have a question.
what's up?
So I hear it being referred to as this river bridge, and I hear it being referred to as the Jolly Bridge. When did it change from being the river bridge?
So, I believe, I know for a fact in 2014 when the second bridge was christened.
Yes.
I know that the daughter of Judge SS Jolley,
Which who you would think sounds like a woman's name. Just because Jolly? Like, I always grew up
Jolley is a
thinking
last name.
I know that, but I always thought it was a woman. I don't know why.
Oh, well, I mean, think about it. If you're taking a judge from like prior to 1968, do you really think that the judge is going to be a woman?
I didn't
Unless
think about
it's
that
like
part, but
Ruth from the Bible. There's not really a lot of lot of. So
and then you said 2014 for the new bridge, correct?
that's when it was officially opened. Yes.
Because I remember when I lived on Marco when I was younger, I always remember just the one bridge, and it was one way on, like one lane on, one lane off.
Mm-hmm.
And it was super cool. And then one thing that I always wondered is how come they didn't make the new bridge the same height as the old one? Why is it a little higher?
I think it's simply just due to more rigorous safety standards that they have nowadays than they did back in the 60s. Because I mean, look at the bridge that was built in the 60s, and now look at the one that was built in the 2010s.
Wait, 2014? That's like it's like
10
its
years
10-year
ago.
anniversary.
Yeah.
Aw.
We could say that this is the 10-year anniversary podcast for the Jolly Bridge. That's what this is for. That's why we started the podcast. Look at us planning ahead. We planned everything.
Oh my gosh! Wait, who does that?
What?
Who's that one person that recently has been like, I'm always 2 steps ahead?
Oh, that's Nikocado Avocado.
Uh,
None of the people who watch this podcast, none of our prime demographic is going to understand that at all, so I'm going to skip over that. He's a YouTuber who used to eat a real lot and was really, really, really overweight. I'm talking like 350 pounds.
why are you
And then-
explaining it if you're skipping it?
And then he stopped posting for 7 months and revealed that this has all been a ploy from the beginning, and he actually lost all the weight, and he's been doing it for like 2 years, and he prepared everything like 2 steps ahead. It's crazy. Anyway,
It's
so I have
crazy.
this little I had this little read about I need to switch glasses. No, I don't. It's too bright. All right. I need to turn up your brightness. No, I can't. All right. Anyway.
Do you need help?
No, it's fine. All right. So the Judge SS Jolley Bridge was named for Seward Stokely Jolley, who was a Collier County judge for 20 years. He served the county from 1935 to 1959. He is one of few judges, if not the only one, to serve the county who did not have a law degree.
That's
Although not a
crazy.
lawyer, he was appointed by Governor David Schultz as a county judge in 1935. After his appointment, he worked tirelessly to render service to all kinds to his community. He served as a coroner, holy moly, and he was frequently called out in the middle of the night to render assistance after accidents of all kinds. We do also have to remember, Collier County in 1935
Was much smaller.
was crazy.
Crazy.
Was
What made it crazy?
Okay, so you have to think about it like this. I feel like I said this during the Ottermound episode. The closest sheriff's office was in Fort Myers.
Seriously.
It was a 3-day walk to get to Fort Myers. We didn't really have like much of a police presence down here.
Now we have our own police.
Yeah, we have our own police on Marco. So like if it was the Wild West down here up until the 60s.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, and then also like the drug trade down here in the 70s.
Where are them square bass at?
we there are stories. I'm gonna have to. There's stories. There's stories.
There's
We're
stories.
gonna have to interview some people, and it's gonna be like Deep Throat in the Watergate documentary. Just Just completely black out their face and everything. Hi, we're interviewing Redacted today, because the statute of limitations still is not up. So Judge Jolley moved to Naples in 1949 and became a business associate of Harry Brown. Together, they built and operated the first modern supermarket in the city, complete with a soda fountain and a restaurant. He continued working as a judge and was active in many civic organizations until his death on October 3rd, 1959. That was yesterday.
That was yesterday.
We plan these things out so well.
We're just too good.
We're too good. It's 10 years since the dedication of the new bridge, and 1959. Wow. Happy going home day, Judge SS Jolley. So, this is one of the most interesting parts, I think, of Judge Jolley's legacy. Is his daughter, who was at the not the groundbreaking ceremony, but the like bottle breaking ceremony of like
Bottle breaking.
Yeah, you know when they take the bottle in the back of the ship. Hi, Hattie Mae.
I'd have totally thought it was gonna be like, because you're talking about for the bridge.
Yeah.
I would have thought they did like a
ribbon cutting ceremony. Yeah, of course. But I don't know. Just I think of when they take the bottle and they hit it on the back of a bridge. Yancy, you can walk in here if you want to. What? Oh, that's fine. Oh, all right. So,
question.
What's up?
Nice.
On 15-pound line.
Is the fish bigger than Hattie?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a fish that someone caught that's just sitting out here. Oh, we're gonna get it for the camera.
Oh, that's delicious.
Oh, there's been a crow over here eating its eye. Oh, that's great.
It's
And there it goes.
bigger than Lil Baba Hattie. Hey, Yancy.
Oh, Yancy, do you want to comment on the fishing at the Jolley Bridge? You can take my microphone.
There's a bunch of really little fish, a bunch of mangrove snapper, lane snapper, but the rocks are a hassle for sure, so you gotta try to not get caught up in it.
What side of the bridge do you prefer for fishing? Is it this side or the Naples side?
Definitely the Naples side's a little easier for fishing.
Very nice. Any other comments you'd like to make on the Jolley Bridge today?
You gotta come here, it leaves you feeling jolly.
Did you know that they had a fishing pier that went all the way down? Like it connected all the way?
They took it down?
It
got blown away. I think it was in, I don't remember if it was in Andrew or Charlie. It was one of the, or it might have been Wilma. I don't actually remember. I'll have to figure that out. I'll put it, I'll fact check I almost put in my own.
Your own
code,
password.
yeah. I'll have to fact check myself. And it will be right here, making more work. But yeah, there's been a lot of people talking about bringing it back. But the only thing about bringing it back is you'd have to think that it's just going to get blown away in another hurricane.
Yeah, they gotta build it out of concrete.
Yeah, but also, I mean, how convenient it is for boats right now. Like, it's very nice.
Leave the middle open, you're good.
Yeah. Yeah, but then you can't walk all the way across. That's kind of like the whole thing. Yancey said if you leave the middle open, you're good, but then you can't walk across. But then also, it would be really nice to walk out just in the middle and then start fishing. And then there would be more space to fish.
A drop here.
What's that?
You could go to the other side and walk that way.
You could go to the other side and walk that way. Yeah, that would be
Leave a gap in the middle.
smart.
That's my proposition.
That is Yancey's proposition. All right, cool. All right, back to Judy Jolly Dench's. I almost put in my own again. Okay. So this is one of the, I think, the most interesting part of Jolly's legacy. So his daughter, June Jolly Ditches or Ditches, I'm not entirely certain how to pronounce that. I'm probably butchering that. Who married Tommy Barfield's grandson.
That's insane.
Yeah. Jim Ditches says, "My father was a man of the people. He was loved and respected by everyone. He was a father figure to a generation of county residents. The judge was a close friend to the Miccosukee Indians and The judge was a close friend to the Miccosukee Indians and one of the few white men to attend the sacred green corn dance. He was known for being tough on game law violators. He was always available to offer free counsel. That's a great quote. That's a great quote, especially like that's of someone who died in 1959. That is a great thing to say about them too.
Yeah. A real kind of legacy for Marco.
The state legislator honored him when his name went on the bridge linking Marco Island to the mainland via 951 in December of 1991. So it soon became apparent that the single span of the Jolly Bridge was not adequate to handle Marco Island's traffic volume, and there could be an acute problem in the event of a serious hurricane. In the late 1990s, a movement began to consider replacing the bridge or to add a span. Ooh. Despite repeated attempts to secure financing, the bridge issue was consistently relegated to the bottom of the pile. Sounds familiar.
Ooh, with what?
It just sounds familiar. It's very Marco to like have a problem that just like involves changing a really big thing about the island's identity that just like, oh, we'll fix it later.
That's very true. I can see where a lot of people definitely are a little more resistant to change.
Yeah. Let's see. So, city council member Mike Minozzi worked tirelessly on the project for a number of years. Unfortunately, there was no financing available, and too much controversy over a toll eliminated any possibility of using that source of revenue, which is interesting because recently people have discussed reinstating a toll on the bridge.
Really?
Yes.
No way.
So I was at the city council meeting, and there were several people calling for reinstating the toll on the bridge, not to fund infrastructure or anything, but to keep people out, to deter people from coming to Marco.
You see, since we both work off of the island, I would hate to pay probably like the $3 every time I have to go on or off.
Even if it was 40 cents.
You think it's going to be 40 cents?
Well, so that if historically it was 40 cents.
Okay. Let's check the inflation rate of 40 cents.
Okay, yeah, actually, what's 40 cents from 1959 to not 1959, 1968 to today?
Yeah, so now it would be $3.69. Which shout out to Brock and the Bean for making this awesome combo.
Brock made that coffee.
Chocolate and coconut.
Actually, I don't know if that. Yeah, Brock made that one. Tristan made mine.
Anyway, I don't remember if you heard me or if I actually said it.
$3.69.
But then also it's like, would it be like SunPass kind of thing where like they scan your plate? Would you have to stop?
That. I don't think anyone would ever. I mean,
like, would you have to stop and like hand them this?
Here's the thing. I think in some of our episodes later this month, we're going to have to ask everybody what they think about a toll on the bridge.
I can see that. Yes.
Yes. Because honestly, I think it's a ridiculous idea. I will go out and say this publicly.
Too.
As someone who lives and works on the island, or no, I don't work on the island. I live on the island, work off island, which is seeming we're kind of opposite. A lot of people live off island and work on the island.
Exactly. Also, if I was working on the island, I would not want to have to pay to go to work.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying we need to put a toll on the bridge, and I said, good luck ever going out to eat again. I said you will never go out to eat again. Because I said every single person who works at La Mesa will not pay that toll.
Even people that, like, I know a lot of people who work at Kokomo's, they live at, like, Isla Capri. So are you telling me that people at Isla Capri have to pay that, too?
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
And then imagine how much traffic's going to be there if, like, you do have to stop and do something, like, to get...
Oh, my goodness.
There's going to be so much traffic.
Yeah. See, I didn't even think about the traffic implications. Yeah, if you think that a toll would fix your traffic problems on Marco, because here's the thing. A lot of people were talking about traffic and parking. That's the two biggest problems that people have with Marco Island right now. And you're not going to stop people from coming to Marco. So don't try to make Marco Island worse for everybody else to deter people from coming. That's ridiculous.
If they have the money to come to
Yeah.
Marco, they have the additional
taking my
$3.69 to make it over.
Yeah, if there's no world in which making the island worse for the rest of us is going to deter other people from coming. So I don't know. Those of us who are younger just kind of have to make our own opinions known about what we want Marco to be, because we are the generation that will inherit this island, because the average age of Marco is the average age of the specific demographic. I've talked about this on the South Beach episode. The demographic of Marco is called golf carts and gourmets, which is elderly and rich. So as that generation starts to move out, we are the generation that is moving up. We are the next generation. There are young families moving to Marco every day. I heard a statistic recently that I don't remember the exact statistics, so I won't quote it, but I know a very large portion of Marco Island has moved here within the past 4 years. Like, I'm talking a ridiculously large portion. If I can find that statistic, it'll be written right below me right now. However, yeah, don't ruin the island because you don't want tourists here. And also, I'll get a little bit political here. Some people were saying the quiet part out loud. I might cut this.
I go monkey here, and I hear no evil. I see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil.
So the Jolly Bridge.
So the Jolly Bridge, happy 10-year. No, but
We got really off track there.
the only way I could even potentially begin personally to justify the idea of a toll for the bridge would be
Third bridge.
No. I think if they like one at a time redid them and made them look nice, and it was something like the Skyway or something.
What's the Skyway?
The Skyway is the bridge to St. Petersburg, which has a toll.
Yes.
If it was something super cool like that,
Okay,
instead
but
of like low-key these mismatching ones,
This
which
is
like
1,595 feet. The Skyway is like a mile?
it's really long. I
Yeah.
don't know exactly,
be
but
that nice.
I do go over it a lot because I have family that lives over there, and to be honest, like
I go to
because
St. Pete
it's
for
such a
concerts
cool
and stuff.
thing, like I don't mind paying that toll.
Yeah,
But,
I
like-
don't. I think there's no reason for a toll.
Yeah, no,
I
definitely
don't-
not for here.
Taxes on Marco have gone down for 8 years in a row. It's the most fiscally conservative city in Florida. No reason for tolls.
I concur.
Do you want to hear a story that I have specifically not told you? I have told everyone else important in my life because I wanted to tell you on this podcast episode.
Okay.
So I've been planning on telling you this story for over a month now. It's the story of how I almost died over here.
What?
Like, I'm talking, I got so close to death that it's not even funny.
When?
Like, it's genuinely not funny.
How could everybody know and not open their mouth
Everybody
to
knows.
me?
I told them not to tell you because I needed you to react for the first time on the podcast. Like, literally, I went and told Arlie and who was working. It doesn't matter who was working.
Well, I'm glad that you didn't die and were able to do
I think
the
it was
podcast.
you were out of town when it happened. I know that for sure. And I told you when you got back in town, it's like, I have something I need to tell you, but I'll tell you on the podcast.
Yeah.
This was during Tropical Storm Debbie. So do you remember when I was really into paddleboarding?
I do.
Did you notice I haven't gone paddleboarding in a while?
I have.
So I used to be really into paddleboarding. I would always either cast off right over here or right over there.
Did you like
I'm telling
flip?
you.
Was there a shark?
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. This is an incredible place to paddleboard.
I believe it.
I checked the weather, and it said that there was a 60% chance of rain at 5:30. I'm like, lit. I go and get myself a bula right at 2 for the start of happy hour at Kava Culture. and I take my happy butt down to the Naples end of the Jolly Bridge, and I cast off, and I go from there, and I'll have a map pulled up to show you exactly my route, because this is important. I go from the Jolly Bridge, and I take my paddleboard, and I go out. I go into the bay over by like Dolphin Tiki and such, and then
Oh,
I
wow.
go down to the beach of Hideaway, on Hideaway Beach. I'm on Hideaway Beach, and I get out. I walk around. I'm like, oh, there's an unmarked sea turtle nest. I'm like, whoa, that's lit. And I'm like walking around, and I'm like, all I've got my red basketball shorts. I don't have a shirt on. I've got my glasses. I've got my cross. I've got my watch, my paddle, and my board. That is it.
Yeah.
I don't have my phone. My phone's in the car.
Makes sense. I mean, you wouldn't want to drop that in the ocean.
Of course not. So then, mind you, I leave at like 2:20 to go out paddleboarding. So it took me about 35 to 40 minutes to get over there. So I look up at the sky over here. It's black. Like the sky is completely black over here. And I'm just like, well, this be time I'm moving on now. So I start absolutely booking it down here. So I am paddling as hard and as fast as I possibly can, right? And now, I am a saved, Bible-believing child of God, so I am just like praying, and I'm just like and I am just like singing like worship songs, and I'm just like, for I have resurrection power, and like because I'm thinking of two things, right? I'm thinking of number one, so in the Bible, there's a story of when Jesus walks on the water. Most people are familiar with that, no matter your church background or not. But the other portion of that story is Peter went out to walk on the water too. And Peter did walk on the water. The only time Peter sunk below the waves is Peter was scared because he took his eyes off of Jesus. The moment he took his eyes off of Jesus and focused on the water, not on Jesus, he sunk beneath the waves. And then Jesus came up and saved him. It's like, you have little faith. So I'm like, I've noted this. And then also, I think of when Paul the Apostle was in prison with Silas, and they are in prison, and they're just singing songs of praise to God, and then the walls of the prison just come tumbling down because they praised God like it was already done. So I was praising the Lord like I was already on shore, and I was just keeping my eyes on him, being like, I serve a God that says the wind and the waves shall be still, so that's what I'm going to declare as I am in the middle of a tropical storm. So
was this like the first day Debbie hit?
Yes.
Because I was gonna say, if you went in the
Friday.
middle of Debbie hitting, like that's just.
This was the Friday. This was the day that the rain and the lightning and the wind was even worse than the day the storm actually hit. Because on the day that Debbie actually hit, it was worse. No. The day it actually hit, the day before was worse. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So I'm over there, and I'm booking it, and then it's seeming like things are going pretty well, because to my right, it's hell. To my left, it is hell. But I kind of have like a pocket of like 10 feet around me where I'm just like, I'm spinning like a ballerina. And I'm just like, wouldn't it be nice if we were older and we would like, so
Wouldn't it be nice if you were on shore?
Yeah. So I'm doing all right. And then some time passes. It's been about 45 minutes, and I pass that island over there, and then I see the bridge, and I'm just like, all right, I'm about 5 minutes, so I think it could take me about 10 minutes to get to there, because the wind is hitting me directly in the face. I'm going towards the wind, which
No
It's
bueno.
hard. That's a very hard thing to do. So I'm heading directly towards the wind, and then, once the storm gets really bad all of a sudden, like really bad.
Your 10 feet circle
It is
becomes
raining.
no circle.
Yeah, it begins raining sideways. I have to shield my eyes because the rain is going directly into my eyes. I don't know if you've ever been with exposed skin in 25-mile-an-hour winds with rain. But
Feels like
it
you're getting
stings
pelted.
really bad,
Oh, wow.
especially when you're in salt water. So I had to shield my eyes for a second. I shielded my eyes for probably like 3 seconds, and when I looked up, the bridge was gone. It was a complete whiteout. Now, mind you, at this time, the thunder is around me like whip cracks in my ear every 10 seconds. Or not even 10 seconds. It's like every like 6 seconds or so. It's like... It's like... It's like that. And then just all I hear is... Constantly. It's constant. It's terrible. It is... Now, here's the thing. It is the most terrifying experience I've ever had in my life. But I was calm. I knew that I was in very grave, very mortal danger. But I wasn't afraid. You know? But I was afraid, but I wasn't, like, panicking.
Yeah,
Understand?
number one rule, just don't
So
panic.
I'm like, all right, here's what I know. I know that the wind is the direction I want to go. So if I go towards the wind as hard and as fast as I can, I'm going to get to shore. So I book it. I am as hard and as fast as I've ever moved in my entire life. 5 minutes go by. There was a little peninsula off to my left of one of these other islands. I haven't moved at all in 5 minutes. I have to change course and I have to go for this peninsula now. So I'm like, all right, I turn, and now you're doing exactly what you don't want to do. You either want to go with the current or against the current. If you're going along the current, you are more likely to capsize, which is not fun.
Yeah.
So I'm going along the current, and I'm going towards this island as hard and as fast as I can for 5 minutes. I have to shield my eyes. 5 minutes later, I open them. I've moved backwards about 20 feet. I don't know if you've ever had a all hope is lost moment. Like, the chips are down, and there's like, I don't think that there is a way out of this situation. It was at that moment, too, that lightning struck right about where those palm trees are. All I saw was white.
Yeah.
Like, it was just everywhere. Because here's the thing. I couldn't see more than, like, 30 feet in any direction.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So there was nothing that I could see. And now, at this point, I thought I knew that I was at this little island here. But, like, I can't get to it. I'm drifting out.
Yeah.
Like, there is nothing that I can do. I'm too far from shore. The current is only picking up. It is only getting worse. Either I'm going to get struck by lightning or I'm going to drown. And I'm at the moment where I'm just like, well, it's been a good run. And I was like, well, this is fitting. I guess this is where I die. And it was at that moment where I was just like, I guess I'm just going to just see what happens and just like sit here for a minute and see where the storm takes me.
Yeah.
If I end up in Mexico, who cares? It was at that moment. Now, I don't know what you believe, I don't know what everyone watching this believes. However, I will go on record on saying what I believe. And you could explain this in any way you want. You could say that it was the adrenaline pumping, but I hear a voice, and all it says is turn around. It's loud. It like pierces the sky. It's like the same volume as the lightning. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
And I turn around. I'm about 20 or 30 feet from this island in the center of the bay, or 30 yards. The wind and the waves had been pushing me towards this island the whole time. So I'm like, got it. So I sail probably at like 25. I know the wind was pushing my back at 25 miles an hour, so I was probably going 30. I had to jam my oar into the seafloor in order to stop myself instead of crashing into the mangroves and dying that way. So then the first thing I did was I threw my oar into the mangroves a little bit so I didn't have this big metal oar on me anymore, so I didn't get struck by lightning. And I'm like, okay, now we call the Coast Guard. So I had my watch, and I tried calling 911. I couldn't get my watch to work, and I kept trying. I'm like, work! And I'm continually like trying to work it. And then finally I'm able to call 911, and I can't hear anything. Because, mind you, everything in my ears just sound like... That was a perfect time for that really loud truck to go by. Because that's
actor.
Paid actor, yeah. That's exactly what it sounded like in my ears at all the like constant moments. So I'm just shouting, "My name's Ryan Sullivan. I live on Marco. I'm wearing red shorts. I'm on a blue paddleboard. My phone number is..." And like I'm just like saying, "My sister's name is Cassie. Her phone number is 2395." And I'm just like saying where I am. I'm on I'm like, I'm on the west side of the Jolley Bridge. It's like I'm on the island in the center, and I repeat the same information like 15 times over the course of 20 minutes, while I can't hear anything. And then finally,
rap God.
What? Yeah. I'm just like, just like constantly. I'm just saying the same thing over and over again. I'm like, by the end, I'm like, my name is Ryan Sullivan. But I'm just repeating it over and over again because I don't know how much they can hear.
Yeah.
So it's just like, this is just my mayday. And then finally I hear, "Ryan, can you hear me? Ryan, can you hear me? Can you hear me out there?" And I'm like, "Yes, I can hear you. And they're like, "What's your phone number?" And they just like confirm some of the info that I've been saying, and they're like, "Great, all right, help is on the way. It's like we're gonna have someone out there to help you in 20 minutes." And like, mind you, at this time, I'm like this, holding on to mangroves, with my hands on the mangroves, just like, okay.
Okay.
And I'm just like, I suppose that's fine. I'd already been there for 20 minutes, and now, mind you, I've been out here for 2.5 hours.
So the storm hit early.
The storm hit.
So what time do you think that this is about?
Oh, well, I have my watch.
Okay, what time was it?
It's 5.
Dang.
Yeah, it's 5.
Okay.
I think it's about 5. Yeah. I remember I made it in time for 6 p.m. Slam. So it wasn't 5 yet. It was like 4:20. So then, no, I think they just gave me 6 p.m. Slam because I looked incredibly traumatized, like I was white.
They're like, you deserve a little bit of calm and social.
Yeah. So then, I'm there. 20 minutes go by. Nothing.
Really?
30 minutes. Nothing. 40 minutes.
And the
nothing.
storm hasn't let up at all?
An hour goes by. Nothing. The storm has finally let up a little bit. after an hour, I can see the bridge again. And now I know exactly where I am, and I was right about where I was. I'm just like, I'm all alone. There's no one here beside me. Like, but you gotta have friends. But so I'm just Jimmy crack corn and I don't care. Like, I'm just sitting on that island, and I'm just like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to save myself. If you want something done, you got to do it yourself. So, lightning's still going off like crazy, and at this time, I'm still like, Amazing Grace, and then, like Moses in the Red Sea, to the right, hell, to the left, high water. The beeline from me to the bridge. Wouldn't it be nice if we were older? So I'm just like born on the bayou. I'm just like it's just clear waters. I'm like Huck Finn. I'm just gonna like, it's like I time it. I wait for 60 seconds in between lightning strikes. And I'm just like, la da da la 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 la. And it takes me a minute and a half, 2 minutes to get from there. And it's perfectly calm. And as I am going, the storm dies up around me as I get to shore. And it is brought to a drizzle as I'm putting my paddleboard on back on top of my car. I call 911 and let them know. It's like, hey, I saved myself. Thanks, MIPD. And they're like,
no way you said that to them.
Yes, I did. And they're like, you're welcome. Give us more funding in the budget. And
that's wild.
And then I called my sister and said, I lived. And she was like, 911 called me and said that you were dying. It's like, but you weren't
By
dead
the
yet.
way, we're gonna call your loved one and tell them that you're a
No.
lost cause.
So no, they called Cassie and said, it's like, hey, Ryan is alive.
But for how much longer?
It's like, but like, not for long, probably. No, they didn't say that. They said, we're gonna get to him eventually. He's chilling at the moment. like he is sheltered in place on an island.
Just like,
in
what's
the
the
middle
worst
of the
that could
open
happen,
ocean.
you know?
Drowning, struck by lightning, alligator, shark. Yeah, the whole 9 yards. So,
Swept away.
the best part of this story, I get onto the bridge. I'm on the phone with Keaton Ashby, the co-host of the Pickle Jar podcast. I'm driving over the bridge. I crest over. And what do I see but an MIPD boat circling the wrong island on the wrong side of the bay?
Are you sure they were wrong, or were you wrong?
They were wrong. North, south, east, west. I said west 19 times, minimum. I confirmed with the 911 operator. I talked to one of my friends who's in the MIPD the next day. One of the guys who goes to church with me. I said, did you hear about that idiot who got himself stranded out in the middle of the ocean during the tropical storm? He said, yeah, what an idiot, right? I said, yeah, you could have saved my life, Mark. And he goes, that was you? It's like, yeah, I didn't want to respond to that call. I'm like, thanks. So that's my story.
I have a less dire story, but it's also like tropical storm hurricane related.
Go ahead.
It's very short, very short.
That's fine.
So,
this podcast can be as long as we want, because that story is going to carry it. I don't care. Because Jason was telling me, it's like, dude, that could be its own podcast.
maybe release it as like a secondary episode. There was so the hurricane that just went by. Do you say, is it Helen or Helene?
Helene.
Helene. Okay.
Helen would be without the E.
That's what I was thinking. So.
Before you go on.
Yes.
I do want to pause really quick. Not sponsored. However, My friend James, who I've interviewed twice on the Pickle Jar Pod, was made homeless by Hurricane Helene. So if you have extra spending money and want to help out James, a previous resident of Goodland, he left Goodland after Irma and Ian, is like, I'm never going to have to deal with a hurricane again, and then moved to Asheville, North Carolina. Lost his home, and if you have any money to spare, there is a link to James's Venmo down in the description. So if there is, if you want to donate anything helps. So that is down in the description and show notes. So go ahead.
So during Helene, I had thought, like the worst we're gonna get is like torrential rain, whatever.
Right, it was very windy though.
It was super windy. Like driving my car on top of the bridge in the middle of the day was very scary. Like I thought I was gonna get blown off.
Right.
And so I went into Naples earlier that day. Everything was fine, yada yada yada. I come back to the island and I go to visit one of my friends who was in town by herself. And she's like, like it's a hurricane, da da da. Like my house is making weird noises. So I go over. We hang out for a little bit, and I was like, like I really should be getting back just because it's dark and it's going to be so windy on the top of the bridge and it's raining, but like I'm sure it's not that bad.
Oh, in the dark.
In the dark.
So this was when the storm surge was coming.
This was the storm surge that I didn't know was happening.
Oh, goodness.
So I'm driving.
See, if the moral of these two stories is check the freaking weather. All right, go ahead.
And then just assume it'll be earlier. So I'm driving back, and it's like probably like just before 10 p.m. I'm driving back.
This was... Okay.
And
I'm sorry. It was well advertised that high tide was 11:21 p.m. that day, so it was going to be really bad at 9:50.
I didn't check it. Okay, I did not check it. There's the moral of the story too. I didn't check.
We didn't listen.
No, but so I'm driving over, and everything is so good. Most of Naples. I get to about Fiddler's Creek. And I'm driving in the slow lane because, like, there's so much rain. I'm like, okay, like, I'm not going, like, 55 in this, I'm going a little slower. So I'm in the slow lane, and I'm doing my thing, and I see these two really weird spaced headlights in front of, or taillights in front of me. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get over because, like, maybe they're having troubles with their car, whatever. And they're going really slow. And so I was really confused, so I'm paying attention to that.
That's a boat.
I'm paying attention to that.
Wait, is it a boat?
It's not a boat. It's two bicyclists going through like 3 feet of water. And as I'm going by them, I didn't notice in front of me was a puddle. Like a giant puddle.
Jordan, you're a terrible person.
I slam on my brakes so fast that like I'm still coasting through the puddle, but not as fast as I was. And I'm just jaw dropped to the like floor. I'm floored at the fact that there's two bicyclists right now driving through a giant puddle that my car could barely go through. I'm driving and I'm like, I just can't stop because if I stop, it's going to go into everything in my car, like da da da. And so I was like, okay, like that's the first one by Fiddler's Creek, whatever, like it's chill. Probably not going to be like that the rest of the way because I knew that parts of over there in Goodland go underwater, you know, and they closed that bridge early on in the day. They knew what was happening. I've been driving in there during the day and like the seawater's up, so it's the normal thing. Right. I never expected it for this side though, and so I get a little further down and I noticed that every like 20 yards is a bigger and bigger puddle, and eventually all the way from like the light for Capri
and then that's when you notice that the water is rushing over the Yep.
And so I get to the bridge and I'm like, you can't even see the beginning of the bridge. All of it's just underwater. So I go over and I was like, sanctuary. And then I come back to the island and I was like, any of these people that I know that are at work right now and have to go to Naples, like, do not leave the island. The water is so high. Don't leave. Like, it was crazy. Yeah. I was so worried for my car.
Well, you know what? That's on a slightly different note, but it's what it makes me think about. And to sort of circle back, the bridge sort of keeps us like isolated on the island. Because I remember during Hurricane Irma, we stayed at Hammock Bay, my grandparents' house, and they closed the bridge. So we weren't able to get back on the island until later the next day. So that's one thing about the bridge is I don't think people really think about it as much, but the Jolly Bridge is such important piece of just Marco Island iconography. There's more stuff that I found from that Facebook page is like these old postcards showing the
cool.
Jolly Bridge
They should
from
make
the Deltona.
postcards.
Good Morning Marco postcards.
Yes.
If you guys want Good Morning Marco postcards, also we're getting ready to launch merch. So if you t-shirts are going to be look very similar to this shirt that I got from Marco Fitness. If you're watching on YouTube, so if you're interested in getting shirts, please reach out.
Yes.
Stickers will be
Get
coming
stickers.
very very soon.
So if you see us in public, just be like, "Yo, can I get a sticker?"
Yeah. So, and stickers will probably be available at a couple different local joints. So, just to
Exciting.
Just but yeah, no, what was I saying? Yeah, the bridge is such important piece of like Marco Island iconography, and I don't think anything should change about it. Now I'm starting to sound like average Marco Island resident, but I love the
You
bridge.
are the average Marco.
No, I am not. I'm 22 years old, Jordan.
You have an old soul.
Comedy. Comedy.
Comedy. But
Oh. Is there anything else you want to say about the Jolly Bridge in particular, or do you think we should start wrapping up this episode?
I think we start wrapping it up.
Because there's a lot that I think I'm going to cut from this, because
Yeah.
there was
We've been doing this for like 2 hours, I think.
No, it's an hour.
Oh, it's only an hour?
Hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. I mean, dang.
Oh, well, the rules of the podcast is damn and hell are the two things we can say.
Damn. No, I'm just kidding.
Damn hell and Microb. That's about
What?
it. Microb it's a South Park reference. You wouldn't get it.
Yeah, I'm not very cultured. I live under a rock. I live under Marco Island.
I live on an island. I'm as cultured as I need to be. I live on Marco Island.
Ding.
Check for Good Morning Marco in the Coastal Breeze. And make sure you post that everywhere. Repost the podcast, share it with your friends, share it with people.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Comment and tell us something new that you learned about the Jolly Bridge. Tell me what you would have done in my situation, in the either in Jordan's situation with the flooding, or in my situation with paddleboarding during a tropical storm. And if you say I wouldn't have gone paddleboarding during a tropical storm, shut up. Say something different.
Not
Jordan,
the point.
where can they find you?
Me? Well, they can find me.
Because you butchered finding me
I
the
know.
past two times.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm like Dory, okay? I just keep swimming and I forget
My
things.
mom used to have a shirt that said, it had Dory on it and said, I let my mind wander and it never came back.
See, I
As you
remember
were.
the new Dory movie came out a
As
while
you were.
ago. And so you can find me.
Comedy.
So you can find me at JGKraley03 on Instagram. You can also find me at poeticpats_ on Instagram. And of course, on Good Morning Marco Pod at Instagram.
Wonderful, wonderful. You can find me at my house, but don't go there. You can also find me online at Real Ryan Sullivan on the Instagram, and you can also find me at www.ryanmsullivan.com, and also you can find all of our links for any of my projects as well as all of Good Morning Marco on there at ryanmsullivan.com/good-morning-marco. And then also
Don't forget to find Island
Tech
Pros. I can't read the screen, it's so dark. Who generously sponsored our episode today. So don't forget, your local tech experts are serving Marco Island and Southwest Florida. Whether you have a quick virus removal or PC tune-up or security camera installation, Island Tech Pro has you covered. And don't forget that this month, all the way until October 31st, if you mention Good Morning Marco, you get a free consultation and diagnosis. Call them today at 239-288-0974 or visit islandtechpros.com.
Thank you so much to Island Tech Pros for sponsoring this episode of the Good Morning Marco podcast. I've been Ryan Sullivan.
I've been Jordan Kraley.
And that's all you need. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you in the next one. Bye. Oh, I didn't record. I'm kidding.
Stop! You've been doing that the